Greetings, fellow mortals. Just a reminder, saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. You have a different take? Good. Fight me. Go on. I dare you. Now, saying the worst of something sounds pretty definitive, but here's the thing about language and words and communication as a whole. Something can have a different meaning in a different context. So here's what I mean by the worst in this particular case. The least development, the least flushed out as an individual, the least importance to the story. Mostly meaning, if the character could be plucked out of the story, would it basically be the same? And the answer is yes with Marie Schrader. You could remove her from large portions of the show and have it end up almost completely the same. The only real exceptions are when Hank got shot, when she was used against Hank, and when she appeared at the end of Better Call Saul. However, each of those parts in the story are important to her only because she's married to Hank and because she's related to Skyler. Her connection to a man is the single most important aspect of Marie as a character in Breaking Bad. You could change her entire personality and get a different actress to play her, and it would not influence the story at all. It's what makes her the worst character, because she's always there, but rarely, if ever, doing anything important. In fact, when she pops up, you're like, oh right, you exist. Now, first off, because people are disingenuous, this is not an attack on the actress. She didn't do anything wrong. She did her job. I do not advocate harassing her. If you do that, you're a fool and an asshole. No, what I'm pointing out is that despite being in the core family, Marie doesn't really have anything to do or to say within the story. She really doesn't evolve or anything. Her shoplifting addiction is just kind of dropped, and she's kind of an asshole sometimes. That's her whole character. Marie's best is shown after Hank fought the twins. She stood by her husband and faithfully supported him throughout his struggles and rehabilitation. She also stood by him when he decided to take down Walter, showing subtlety in her alliances as she loved her husband and also wanted to protect her sister, niece, and nephew, even if Skyler was kind of in deep with Walter at this point. Not to mention that her one appearance in Better Call Saul was absolutely phenomenal, except there was one itsy bitsy tiny problem. Every single aspect of her is connected to Hank. In this case, the female character's main purpose is to support the male character, and it's pretty noticeable because Breaking Bad is short on female characters by a large margin. Look, I'm not a hardcore anything, but I prefer when there's at least a little bit of estrogen pumped into the testosterone fest. It just makes it more interesting. That's why I like when female characters actually get good writing instead of being a supporting role for a man or being a flawless beacon of perfection that never struggles with anything whatsoever. Because women aren't flawless and magical beasts placed on a pedestal. I know, it's a shocking thing to say, but here I am making this bold statement in 2023. Women are people too.
We're crazed, angry, sweaty animals. We're not unicorns, we're women, and we take what we want!
In all seriousness though, Marie isn't actually a bad character. It's just that Breaking Bad is such a good show filled with amazingly well-developed characters that a major person in the story just being good stands out as being bad in comparison. In a lot of ways, even Walter Jr. has more development than Marie. He had a moment where he stood up to his father in the end. Multiple moments, in fact. But Marie was just kind of there at the end, and then she kind of wasn't. And then she showed up at the very end of Better Call Saul, and an admittedly great scene. Perfect. I loved it. But it still had to do with Hank. It makes me wonder what the plan with the shoplifting actually was. In my Hank video, I brought it up, but I was wrong about the resolution, mostly because this subplot does not matter. So this is my official correction, but I still don't think it really matters. I wonder what the original plan was moving from season 1. Was Marie supposed to play a bigger role up until season 5? After all, Jesse was originally supposed to die early. Plans do in fact change while writing. It just goes to show the difference between Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. While great, Breaking Bad didn't have an absolute clear vision about where it wanted to end up. It had a vague notion, but it wasn't completely there. Better Call Saul did, mostly because Breaking Bad made the ending for it already, making it all feel a bit cleaner. But you could argue that it was also less chaotic and less fun. It's a difference between planning writing and pantsing writing. Or you could call it growing or developing writing styles as well, but you get the point. Both can be great, but the pantsing writing is more difficult if you can't go back and change things later. Kind of like the Harry Potter retcon problem. Once something's out there, you have to retcon it and act like it never happened. Once the original version is out there, people know that it exists, and you can't change that no matter how hard you try.
I am SpongeBob, destroyer of evil!
Take it easy, it's just a drawing.
I have a feeling that if Vince Gilligan could, he would slightly alter things in Breaking Bad Season 1, just to make the story a little bit cleaner. It's not really anything to be mad about. Everyone struggles when they first start something new. Is anyone going to say that the first season of Breaking Bad is the best part? That it's their favorite part? Of course not. First season syndrome all the way. It is definitely a thing. But it would still have been nice to show more of Marie, to develop her more, to have a surprisingly important role as the show's moral center. In a way, being like Howard, more of a Howard prototype if you think about it. Here is what I would suggest. To give Marie a massive role, you have to rewrite large sections of Breaking Bad. But to make her the moral center, you only have to alter a few things. Continue having her be rather unpleasant, self-centered, and judgmental. That's what she says and how she feels. But at the same time, Marie could actively be doing good things. She could volunteer a lot. She could buy food for the homeless. She could find home for abandoned animals. All the while, she could be doing all of this just to appear like a good person. But that would be a good juxtaposition with Walter. After all, wouldn't you prefer to see a person do good things for seemingly selfish reasons, or a person doing evil things for supposedly good reasons?
Really makes you think.
She could effectively be the anti-Walter. She's rude, but she always tells the truth how it is, instead of Walter's sweet lies. She's judgmental, but in a way where she actively tries to help people be better. She could even see the results of Hank's work and try to help people fight their addictions, the opposite of what Walter does for a living. She could actively be disgusted by real-life evil, building it as her seeming arrogant in Season 1 to being the ethical sounding board in Season 5, a complete opposite of how Walter developed throughout Breaking Bad. The audience could grow from hating her to agreeing with her, with the fact that no matter how you feel, you should do the right thing because it is the right thing. And the best thing about it is that it could all be done in the background. At first, it could seem like Marie doesn't matter at all. Viewers could outright hate her at the start, but then realize how important someone like her actually is by the end. In this theoretical universe, she never did anything wrong. She never hurt someone or stole anything. Sure, she's an asshole to people, but she's a supporting wife, a loving sister, and someone who does the right thing even when it's difficult. This could really emphasize the point that we're defined by how we act instead of what we pretend to be.
You are a bad guy, but this does not mean you're a bad guy.
Now, it's hard to criticize Breaking Bad too much. This is the second negative I found out of anything in the entire series. The first being the terrible plane crash, which I still stand by that it's stupid and it sucks epic donkey balls. But it's not a major part of the show. It can be ignored. It's not a glaring issue. It doesn't take my enjoyment away from Breaking Bad. The same thing with Marie. Even if her reason for existing in the story is solely to tie Hank and Walt together in some way, I still enjoy her in the show. I'm not saying to burn it with fire, or that I hate Breaking Bad, or that you're a complete and utter moron for enjoying Marie how she is right now. That is not true. The reason I'm saying this is because art needs to be critiqued. There needs to be suggestions on how to do things better. You don't think that Vince Gilligan recognized some of the flaws and mistakes in Breaking Bad? You don't think that he learned from them? We saw him actively get better at his craft. It's called Better Call Saul, and it is the best television show ever made. Because even if it is a testosterone fest, it still has one of the best female characters written in television. Kim Wexler is everything that Vince Gilligan learned about creating female characters. She's the main romantic interest, but she's also her own person. It is perfection.
Beautiful.
Pointing out how something could be better is important. My wife does it all the time with my own writing. She's my main critic for my books. Some of you might assume that she'll be soft about it. Nope. She actively hunts for the tiniest flaws in everything I do creatively, including these videos. And I thank her for it, because it made me better. Sure, it can feel frustrating at the time, but then it feels 100 times better when she has no negative feedback whatsoever. No matter how good someone is at creating something, they can be better, and Vince Gilligan proved that. And wanting a female character to be more than a wife isn't asking too much. Here, let me ask you, what was Marie's job? And if you don't know or had to look it up, that's fine. She was man, I'm having such problems with this word. A radiologic technologist. Yeah, man, I suck at talking sometimes. But yeah, how often did that come up? You could probably name every other character's profession, even Walter Jr. as a student. Look, I'm just saying, she could have been done a little bit better. Or you could just want a woman to be in the kitchen, to walk around barefoot and pregnant. Or you could have them be flawless moral pillars that no one could ever live up to, while real girls have nothing to look up to at all. That's fine if that's what you want. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
And you are a horrible person. And you not understanding that you're a horrible person doesn't make you less of a horrible person.
Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and to continue the discussion in the comment section. And please consider giving my books Above Heaven, Dance of Frozen Death, and Vows of Blood and Honor, which will be released in September, a chance. I appreciate you. Do not despair.